Hello and welcome to the Positive Mindset Tribe, a refreshing and empowering podcast on how to become a magnet for love, abundance, and joy. And as you have probably guessed, it all starts with your mindset. I am your host, Veronica Moreno, a mindset coach, therapist, and energy healer, and my mission is to share with you my most powerful tips, psychological tools, energy healing techniques, so you can manifest the joyful, meaningful, and successful life you deserve. Are you ready for your weekly dose of motivation, confidence, and empowerment? Let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Positive Mindset Tribe. This is your host, Veronica, and today I want to share with you everything you need to know about the drama triangle or triangle of disempowerment, which is one of my favorite ever tools to become aware of negative patterns in relationships. In this episode, I'm going to be covering the three main roles in the drama triangle, which are victim, rescuer, and persecutor, why we take on these roles, why this is useful and how to use this tool, and how to escape the drama triangle and develop healthier patterns in relationships. The drama triangle is one of my favorite tools ever because it is such a simple model, but so powerful. It can help us become aware of our behaviors, our patterns, and how we interact with other people. It's all about understanding our interactions, how we interact with other people. And as we have discussed before, becoming aware of something or of a limiting belief or a pattern is the first step and probably the most important one if we want to change something, right? So the first step and the most important one is to become aware of something that doesn't feel right. And then when we become aware of it, we can change it. So it is a great tool to gain awareness. When we are not aware of our beliefs and patterns, it doesn't mean that they're not there. It just means that they're running our life from our subconscious mind, which is very dangerous. We talked a lot about this and about limiting beliefs in the previous episode. So add that one to your playlist if you haven't listened to it yet, if you want to learn more about how to identify and remove limiting beliefs you might not be aware of. Now let's get started with today's topic, the drama triangle. The drama triangle is a triangle because it has three main roles: the victim, the rescuer, and the persecutor. We take on these roles when we don't know how to meet our needs in a healthy way. And when we take on these roles, it gives us kind of an illusion of power, that we are in control. Now, the fact that we sometimes might behave as a victim, as a rescuer, or a persecutor doesn't mean that we are a victim or a rescuer or a persecutor. It just means that we might have behaviors or patterns that match the description of those roles. And although we normally tend to get stuck in one of the roles, everyone has kind of a favorite role. We can move through the drama triangle. So for example, we could take on the victim role at work more often, but become more of a persecutor with our siblings, for example. I think the best way to understand the drama triangle is with examples. So we're going to see some examples now because it's going to be much easier to understand. So the first role in the drama triangle is the victim. The victim wants to be saved. So if we think of an archetype, for example, the victim would be the Disney princess waiting to be rescued. We take on the victim role, for example, when we don't take responsibility of whatever is going on in our lives. When we wait for someone to save us, when we assume that someone will do something for us. And that could be our parents, our spouse, or even the government. But basically, when we are in victim mode, we are relying on someone else to solve our problems for us. And when we take on the victim role, when we are in victim mode, we are discounting ourselves. It's like assuming that we don't have the resources we need to deal with whatever is going on for us. And we have to wait for someone to do something about it, or we expect someone to do something about it. And when we do this, we are leaking our power. We are literally giving our power away. We are discounting ourselves. We are not believing we have the power, the resources, the skills, the strength to solve whatever problem we're dealing with. So common phrases of the victim role would be, This always happens to me. I am so unlucky. What can I do? There is nothing I can do about it, right? Sometimes when we get stuck in the victim role, we play the psychological game, yes, but, which is when we get caught in a dynamic where one person expresses a need or a problem and the other person tries to give them solutions, but the only answer they get is yes, but. So for example, someone saying, I'm so depressed, I feel so bad, and someone telling her, have you tried doing some physical exercise? Yeah, but that doesn't work for me. Have you tried some meditation? Yeah, but that is not for me. Have you tried some therapy? Yeah, that's a good idea, but why would I bother? I know this is not going to work for me. So it's always like rejecting the solution, because that's what will keep the person in the victim role. And let me make an important point here before we continue with the next role, which is that we take on this role. So for example, when I take on the victim role, that doesn't mean that I am a victim. That is not my personality. That's not who I am. It's just a set of patterns and behaviors and beliefs that I'm showing, that I'm demonstrating at that particular time. And sometimes we can move through the drama triangle very quickly, from victim to persecutor to rescuer. So this is just the model with some roles to help us gain awareness. The purpose of this is not to define our personality, let alone to judge any form of patterns or behaviors. This is just to get awareness, and this is just a model to use, right? So people who are very negative, who complain a lot, who always have a lot of problems and never find the solution, who are always expecting for someone to save them, spend a lot of time on this role. The second role in the drama triangle is the rescuer. And the archetype would be the prince fighting the dragons for the Disney princess. The purpose of the rescuer is to save someone. Now, please note that the rescuer is not someone who wants to help. Helping is beautiful and healthy. There is an important difference. The rescuer does something for the victim without being asked. And when we are in rescuer mode, even if we think we might be helping, we are not. This is very disempowering for the person we are trying to save, even though we think we are helping. When we are in rescuer mode, we are discounting the abilities of the person we are trying to rescue, because we are assuming that the person we want to help is not able to deal with whatever they're going through at that moment. And maybe they're perfectly fine without us. Maybe they're perfectly fine without our help. But when we are in rescuer mode, we want to be the superhero. And I'm sure you can think of someone, or maybe this is you, someone who's always available for everyone else except for themselves. Someone who's always taking care of everybody else. Moms that do everything for the kids, even when they're grown-ups. And they make decisions for them, and they don't let them either make their own choices or do anything on their own, because they think they know better, or because they think that they have to do everything for them. So please note that asking for help and offering help is perfectly fine. And that is beautiful. And we should do more of this and care more for other people. The unhealthy interaction between the victim and the rescuer comes when the rescuer does more than 50% of the job. Let me give an example of this. So imagine a friend of mine has been fired and she's looking for another job and she's feeling overwhelmed, still in shock that she has lost a job that she really liked and not knowing where to start. So if she asks me for help and we sit down together and I offer her a shoulder to cry on or help preparing for the job search or a job interview, then that's fine, right? A friend has a problem. She asks for help, I am available for help, and I help her. Perfectly fine. Now, if time goes by and she doesn't make an effort to look for another job, if she doesn't do anything to move forward, if she's not taking actions to sort herself out, and she just sits on the sofa claiming benefits, not taking any actions, then that will be being in victim mode or taking on the victim role. Waiting for someone to help me, waiting for someone to knock at my door and offer me a new job. Being at home thinking, poor me, again, this happened again, it's always me, poor me, right? And then this type of behaviors attracts the rescuer, right? So, for example, if I were telling her what to do, getting job interviews for her, arranging job interviews or meetings for her, or giving her money out of nowhere without her having asked, then I would be taking on the rescuer mode. I would be trying to save her. So in this case, I would be doing more than 50% of the job to help her in the situation. That puts me in the rescuer mode. If she asks for help and I'm helping, that's just beautiful friendship, right? If I'm doing more than 50%, if I'm doing more than half of the work that needs to be done to solve her problem, then the relationship is victim-rescuer. So there is a subtle, but at the same time, very big difference between a healthy relationship of help and support and getting caught in the drama triangle in the victim-rescuer interaction. And finally, we have the third role of the drama triangle, which is the persecutor. So following the examples of the archetypes, the persecutor would be the villain in the movie. The persecutor loves criticizing, loves complaining about how bad other people do their job or anything in their life. They can be really mean, even without trying to. So when we take on the persecutor role, we tend to show a lot of anger. It's kind of an angry role, this one. We might even have a go at someone out of nowhere. This is very typical of the persecutor role. Even with jokes, so sarcasm and irony are some of the persecutor's favorite tools. Because remember, in every single joke, there is some truth. Think about it. Every joke is based on some truth. And that's why they're funny. But many times when someone takes offense, then the persecutor, the person making the joke, will say, "Oh, come on, it was just a joke. I didn't mean it." But I heard once that jokes are a cowardly way to say the truth, which made me think a lot. And I'm not saying that all jokes have bad intentions, you know what I mean? But it did make me think a lot that in every joke or sarcastic comment, there is some truth to it. So people who love teasing, criticizing, making jokes about other people, they will probably tend to get caught in the persecutor role. This is very typical. Common phrases you might hear when someone is in the persecutor mode or persecutor role. "I told you, this is all your fault, if you had listened to me, what's wrong with you, you always do the same, you're terrible." Or it could also be criticizing other people. The persecutor can persecute someone indirectly. So for example, when we're all sitting at dinner, the family together, and the mom goes, "If your father had paid the bills, we wouldn't be in this situation." So it's kind of a way to persecute the father in a non-direct way. So we can persecute directly or indirectly. So in the example of my friend losing her job, if I went to her and said, "I told you, you should have chosen a different company. I knew this would happen. You should have seen this coming. Now see where you are. You better hurry up and start looking for something already. What are you even planning to do anyway?" That would put me in the persecutor role. So these are the main three roles. And although I haven't given kind of dramatic examples or over-exaggerations, so the concepts are clear, many subtle interactions with other people can be part of the drama triangle. So we need to be very careful with what we say to other people and what's the intention behind it. And not only the intention, because maybe the intention is good, but how is the other person going to take it? And when I first studied this model, I was fascinated because I find it so simple, yet so powerful. And all I could think of is, "Oh no, I'm being a victim now. Oh no, that was such a persecutor comment." Or, "Oh no, here is my rescuer in me again." But it helped me so much to understand my behaviors, my patterns, how I was interacting with other people. And the funny bit is when you know this information and sit back in a dinner or in a family gathering, for example, and see them getting caught in the drama triangle. It is hilarious. So I think this is great timing for this episode to be released right before Christmas, because you will be at those family gatherings or friends gatherings laughing inside, identifying all those roles. So my invitation for you is to spend a few minutes reflecting on what is your favorite role. And what I mean by what is your favorite role is which of these roles you take on more often, because we tend to have a favorite one. Mine is the victim. I can be very dramatic and I love getting caught in this, "Oh no, poor me, please someone come and rescue me," which is very disempowering. And this is one of the reasons why this tool is also called the triangle of disempowerment, because especially in the victim rescuer interaction, when I am a victim, I am assuming that I am powerless, that I need someone else to do something for me. But the rescuer is assuming that I am powerless, and that's why they feel they have to rescue me. And same with the persecutor. The persecutor thinks that they have the right to have a go at the victim. And like I said, we can move through the drama triangle and take on any or all of the three roles in a matter of minutes. So like I said, these roles don't define our personality. It's just patterns or behaviors we follow at a given time or in a particular situation. But it is true that each person has kind of a tendency to get caught in one particular role more than the others. Or sometimes we can be more comfortable in a role in a certain situation. So for example, we might be the rescuer at home, trying to solve everything for everyone, but we might be a victim at work, or the other way around. So I would invite you to take some time thinking about what situations, what triggers you to be in a particular role. What triggers you to become the victim, to become the persecutor or the rescuer? What type of situations, what moments, what people? And just start to become aware. And I'm sure this Christmas you are going to have a lot of fun. It is really funny to not speak and just look at all those social interactions and start thinking, here he comes with the persecutor roles. Here he comes trying to save everyone. Here she comes with her complaints and her save me speech. You'll think of me this Christmas. You'll see how interesting it is, and you will see all conversations with very different eyes. Right, so one of the main things to understand when it comes to the drama triangle is, why do we take on these roles? If we know that this is not good, that this is not the healthy way to interact with other people, why on earth do we take on these roles? Why do we become the victim, the persecutor, or the rescuer? We take on these roles because it is the best way we know to meet our needs. Maybe it's what we learned when we were kids. Maybe we copied this way to interact with others from our parents or other parental figures. Maybe we learned that it wasn't safe for us to ask about our needs, and we always had to wait for someone to step in. Maybe we don't know how to ask for our needs openly because maybe it wasn't safe for us. Maybe this is not how we learn. Maybe we were never taught to open for a hug, for advice, for attention. And then we get caught in the victim role, not being able to express our needs openly and directly. But we feel that we have to wait for someone to save us. And in the meantime, we complain and get caught in the poor me mentality. Maybe we learned that our needs weren't important. Maybe that is a belief that we acquired when we were kids, and it runs in the subconscious mind. And very often when we have the belief that our needs are not important, we will tend to get caught in the rescuer mode, prioritizing everyone else's needs. Maybe we never learned how to connect with our emotions, how to connect with ourselves, because it was painful. And our way to disconnect from that is to focus on someone else's problems rather than ours. And then we become the rescuer. Maybe what we learned, or our beliefs, is that we have to be better than everyone, that we have to be the best, that we have to stand out to receive love. And then that makes us criticize everyone else or have a go at anyone who doesn't achieve results. Or maybe our way to deal with our complexes is to make jokes about someone else, and then we become the persecutor. So here, very, very important, please, no judgment. I remember when I started to study this model and to identify all my drama triangle moments, I felt really bad. And I thought, wow, this is so bad of me to take on this role. When I saw myself as a victim, I thought, but this is not me. This is not me. I felt so embarrassed because the victim is my favorite role. It's the one I tend to get caught in. So looking back at many moments in my life when I've been such a clear victim, I felt very embarrassed. Or when I have been a persecutor, I felt so bad for other people. But the point here is not to judge something that we don't like. The point here is to gain awareness. So if by listening to this podcast, you have become aware of you taking on some of these roles in certain situations, that is great news. Yes, this is not bad. because this means that now you're aware of what you do. You might have become aware of some things that you don't like or that you would like to change, that you would like to improve. Fantastic. Because everyone gets caught in the drama triangle sometimes. So if you identify yourself, if you see yourself in the drama triangle, you're not the only one. Most people, if not everyone, gets caught in the drama triangle every now and then. Even after doing years of therapy and self-discovery and self-development and healing, we still get caught in it sometimes. Now, the important thing is, do you want to be blind and ignore it? Great, your choice. But your problems are not going to go away just by sweeping under the carpet. Only by becoming aware of these patterns of these behaviors, you can change them. And becoming aware is the first step and the most important one, because sometimes just by becoming aware of this, you will notice from now on, the things will be very different. Now you understand all these roles, you will see how things change. So if you know you tend to get caught in one of these roles, or you have done it before, or you do it often, don't feel bad, just observe, be aware of it, treat yourself with compassion, the compassion you deserve and that everyone deserves, and just assess what needs to be changed, if anything needs to be changed or improved. So now we know the main roles in the drama triangle, we know why we take on these roles. Now, how do we escape it? You identify that you have a tendency to be in victim role or persecutor role or rescuer mode. What do I do about it? So, if the reason why we enter the drama triangle is because we don't know a better way to meet our needs, the way to get out of the drama triangle is to find out, to learn a healthy way to meet those same needs. So for example, if I need a hug, if I need some love because I've had a tough day, instead of being a victim and complaining about my day and waiting for my partner to give me a hug, a healthier way to do it would be to say openly. And when he asks me, "How was your day?" "Fine. That doesn't sound very good. Do you want to talk about it?" "No, never mind." And then spend the evening moaning, waiting for him to ask me a million times what's wrong with me, and then finally receive the hug and the love I need. It would be much easier if when he asks me, "How was your day?" I said, "You know what? Awful. Do you have a moment to talk about it?" "Yeah, sure. I just need a hug. I just need to talk. Do you have some time to give me advice?" Whatever it is. But that way you openly express your needs. You don't wait for the other person to become a psychic and read your mind and give you what you need. Because maybe they would love to give you what you need, but they don't know what it is. Or maybe they will become the rescuer and they will try to save you or to give you something that you don't need. And then maybe because I haven't received the hug or the love I needed, I become a persecutor and I start complaining about how terrible boyfriend he is and how he never pays attention to my needs and how he's never there for me. And then I've become the persecutor, having a go at him when he has done nothing, really. The only thing he hasn't done is he hasn't guessed what I needed. Or for example, in the example of the friend who has lost her job, if I'm her, instead of being a victim and waiting for someone to do the job for me, if I'm overwhelmed and I don't know what to do because I just lost my job and I feel so bad and so shocked and so depressed and so overwhelmed, I don't even know where to start. A healthy way to go about it would be to call a friend or a loved one and ask for help openly, and tell them, "You know what, I'm feeling really overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. I feel so bad. Do you have any ideas, any contacts that could help me? I just need to let it all out. Can we go for a walk together? Can we go for a drink together? That would make me feel much better." That would be a healthy way to approach it. That would be a healthy way to cover my need. If I am the friend who wants to rescue her, instead of trying to save her and doing things for her without her asking, a healthy way to go about it would be to offer her my help and let her decide what she wants to do. So for example, I could offer her a shoulder to cry on. I could offer her some career coaching, some advice. I could ask her if she wants me to put her in touch with some contacts that I might find interesting for her. But I offer the help and let her decide. That would be a healthy way of offering help. Or if I am the one taking on the persecutor mode, telling her how it's her fault and I told her about it, instead of saying that, maybe if there is something I want to tell her, I can do it in a non-offensive way. Because healthy criticism is good. It is healthy. It can help us improve and grow. But maybe I have to wait until she feels a bit better. And then I can say, would you like me to give you my opinion or some advice? Because I think you were underrating your company. And I think you could use your skills much better somewhere else. And I think you underestimate yourself and you're not embracing your full potential that you could do much more with your skills. I'm telling her something that she could do to improve her situation, that she could have done better, but I'm not persecuting her, I'm not having a go at her. So that would be a healthy way to offer that advice. So escaping the drama triangle is always about finding a healthy way to meet our needs. It's about having healthy interactions with other people. That's the only way to escape the drama triangle, to become aware of which role we are in, why we take on this role, and how to meet our needs in a healthy way. Now, this will require, obviously, a bit of inner work. So this will require to be an observer, right? Like I've said many times, only when you're aware of something you can change it, you can improve it. So be an observer. Do this exercise, detach from the situation, act like you were just an external observer, taking notes of how you behave, of your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, any patterns that repeat again and again. With no judgment, with compassion, just an observer, an impartial observer. Then you do the inner work. And this is key. To escape the drama triangle, we are the ones who have to do the inner work, instead of expecting others to change. If you expect other people to change, if you believe that the source of your problems is other people and that only when they change you will be happy, you're never going to be happy. You're going to suffer all your life because you can't change others. You can only change yourself. For that, you have power. To change others? So focus on doing the inner work yourself, and things around will change. Changes will follow, I promise. And a big part of this inner work will be to understand your needs, to honor them, to make sure you honor them and you learn to meet them in a healthy way. So again, I'm going to invite you to take some time to reflect on when you take some of those roles, any or all of them, what is the trigger? What is the need that you need to meet? And what could you do instead? That is the key. So when I need a hug, when I need love, to move from the victim to a healthy way of asking for help, I will need to stop pretending that nothing is wrong with me, denying that there's nothing wrong with me, expecting the other person to save me. I would need to leave that behind and change the narrative. Ask for help in a different way. Ask for love or for a hug in a different way. And like I said in the previous episode or in the last couple of episodes, I know changing is not easy and there will always be some resistance to change, because as human beings we don't like change because it goes against our survival instinct. And also the reason why we get caught in these roles, and you may be thinking, but why do I behave like this? This is not good. It will be much easier to do it in the healthy way, right? And sometimes even when you identify, you spend a lot of time taking on these roles, you know it, but you can't change it because there will always be resistance to change. It's human nature. So it might take some time after you become aware of being in one of these roles until you can change the dynamic. It's like getting good at a sport. You have to practice a million times, right? And the first time you try is harder, but then the more you do it, it becomes easier. But this is exactly the same. But trust me, it is so worth it, because the drama triangle, it's called drama for a reason. There's only drama in that triangle. It's also called the triangle of disempowerment. And it is so true. We leak our power when we are in the drama triangle. We only experience suffering and frustration. It gives us an illusion of power and being in control when we are in one of these roles. But if you think about it, it doesn't bring you joy, pure joy, content, inner peace. So everyone save some popcorn for the family gatherings to enjoy people getting caught in the drama triangle. And this year, try to be an observer. Try to be an observer. See what happens when you stay neutral, when you just observe, where you do something differently, where you change the way you would have reacted. It feels so good and it's going to be fun, I promise. Well, I know that was a lot of information. I hope you found it useful though. So we're going to do a recap before we finish. Right, so today we've learned that drama triangle is a simple and powerful tool to become aware of unhealthy social interactions. The main roles in the drama triangle are the victim, the rescuer, and the persecutor. And a great way to understand these roles with a quick example is the victim being the princess that is waiting to be saved, the prince who wants to rescue the princess, and the villain. We get caught in the drama triangle when we don't know how to meet our needs in a healthy way. This can be something we learned when we were kids. This could be the way we had to survive, or it could be that we are copying a pattern or a behavior from someone in our family. And finally, the way to get out of the drama triangle is to become aware of our patterns and behaviors, to identify if we have a tendency to get caught in any of those roles, to become aware and assess if something needs to change. And if we identify that something needs to change, then do the inner work to understand our real needs and how we can honor them and meet them in a healthy way. How we can change those unhealthy interactions, how we can replace them with healthy, authentic behaviors and interactions with other people. And I know this is not easy, so if you would like some help, this is a tool I use very often in my one-on-one sessions. I share it with my clients all the time. So if you would like to explore this topic deeper, or if you struggle to actually implement the changes, get in touch. I'm going to leave a link in the show notes so you can book a free consultation if you're interested in knowing more about the one-on-one packages I offer at the moment. Okay, my loves, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for being here. If you made it this far, thank you for listening to this podcast, and thank you for being part of the tribe. If you are enjoying this podcast, please subscribe, give it a good review, and share it with your friends and loved ones. Invite everyone to join the Positive Mindset Tribe. I'm also going to leave a link to my website in the description for those of you who want to find out more about my background, the work I do. My website is veronica-moreno.com. And feel free to reach out with any questions or suggestions of topics you would like me to cover in future episodes. I'm always open to suggestions and I cover them, I promise. So feel free to reach out. Okay, tribe, sending much love and light to everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.